Good morning, my name is Leda Sanchez, and today I'm going to present my report on the best career path in social work based on your desired client population. So, starting off with a little bit about myself, as of May 2019, I have struggled between choosing psychology or social work as a college major and a future career choice. I wanted something that would let me do what I love and allow me to have fun while doing it. After going back and forth, I found that there was a division in social work that would allow me to practice both. The field of social work is so vast that there is a career choice for almost anyone. Now, I say this because social workers often encounter terrible situations and must be quick on their feet in order to help their patients. Every division is different and has multiple roles available to fit the worker's strengths. Based on the criteria I have outlined later on in my report, I believe that working with individuals who have mental health issues seems the best fit for me. I would also recommend this career path to those who found themselves interested in psychology but desire other responsibilities than becoming a therapist. I sought to conduct this report to help future and current college students understand the social work field better and to see if it might be the perfect fit for them. This report will serve as a guide for students who are seeking which career path will best fit them as they continue their education in social work. To do this report will list some of the most common fields in social work that cover a great deal of the roles and responsibilities often placed on social workers throughout the community. I was able to gather this research through textbooks, major social work websites, and my own experience as a social work undergraduate student. So starting off, social work is a profession that deals with helping individuals acquire services, i.e. housing, income, or food, providing counseling, improving already established services and laws, and advocating for clients' needs. Although social work is a profession that is deeply needed, there are always numerous job openings. One of the reasons this occurs is because many individuals do not understand the numerous differences between the departments within social work. For example, children and families and youths in schools are departments that deal with the same kind of population, but their resources and services available are vastly different. Contrary to popular belief, a social worker's main job may not be counseling, and not every department requires the same services. Although all social workers must follow the same values and ethics, their jobs can be completely different. This is why educational requirements and salary can be different depending on the field one chooses to go into. The first thing an individual must do while choosing the social work field they want to go into is to see what their desired client population is. This is who they seek to help, and it is best to figure this out early in order to be able to meet all of the requirements before stepping out onto the field. Children and families, older adults, people with disabilities, youths in schools, and people with mental health issues are just 5 of the countless populations social workers deal with, and they will be discussed in this report. So as I stated before, children and families, older adults, youths in schools, people with disabilities, and people with mental health issues are 5 of the most common client populations served by social workers. Because these are the most well-known and probably the client population you yourself are seeking to help, we are going to go more into detail about the requirements needed and the responsibilities held by the workers to see if one of these career paths is truly the right fit for you. Through my research utilizing textbooks, websites, and PDFs, I created a brief overview of each career path. I was interested in both quantitative and qualitative data, so I ran each career path through a set of criteria that would help researchers decide which fit them the best. The criteria I chose was desired client population, the services the type of social worker provides, places of work or where you will be able to find these social workers, educational level and experience, and lastly, salary. So our first client population is children and families. A child and family social worker is someone who provides services aimed at helping children and families. The services provided by child and family social workers is called child welfare. Child welfare is the field of social work that deals with strategies and programs aimed at empowering families, developing healthy environments, keeping children safe, and meeting the child's basic needs. When working in this field, one will encounter many different types of families and family structures, such as a blended family, which is a non-traditional group of people who live together and take on actions typically carried out by families. Open-mindedness and acceptance toward diversity is absolutely needed for this field, and the worker is not allowed to make assumptions about how, in their minds, families should be, but rather understand how the family currently works and tackling the issues as they are presented. Some of the services provided by child and family care social workers include support services, parental aids, daycare, foster family care, and much more. Child and family social workers have a very draining job, since sometimes they will encounter situations where harm is being done to children by their guardians or adults. Some of the harm they encounter includes any kind of abuse, including physical or sexual abuse, child neglect or maltreatment, physiological mistreatment, and sadly much more. Because of this, it is important to understand why you are going into the social work field and what you hope to gain from this career or what you hope to make better in your community. There are many environments in which a child and social worker can help assist. Child daycares, residential settings, group homes, and residential treatment centers being some popular examples. Child Protective Services, or CPS, is the most well-known job of child and family social workers. Their goal is to protect children from any kind of maltreatment. CPS workers can be employed by the state or county, and they are assigned multiple cases to protect children from various types of harm. They can also hold interventions where proper steps are able to take place in order to ensure proper care of the child is being taken care of. In order to become a child and family social worker, an individual must at least earn a Bachelor of Social Work degree or a BSW and pass their state licensure exam to practice at any entry-level position. If one wishes to continue their education, they can earn a master's degree of social work or an MSW, which will allow them to practice at a more advanced level and offer different services like counseling to their clients. An individual can also earn a doctorate degree of social work or a DSW that specifies in counseling and is research-centric to prepare them for a supervisory role in the field. All of these degrees have to be earned at an accredited social work program to ensure the individual is getting proper training for their future career. The licensure will also vary from state to state when a social worker takes their exam. So going into a little bit more detail about this, in order to become a practicing social worker, you must earn your degrees from an accredited university. The Council on Social Work Education, or the CSWE, is a national association whose job it is to accredit various universities offering social work classes to ensure that students are being taught the proper values, morals, and ethics that is a part of the social work field. So TAMUC, for example, has an accredited social work program, and this means that students who earn their degrees here can expect to gain the proper knowledge about the social work field and earn skills that will help them in their career. Now, a license to practice social work will only be valid in the state you took the exam, so it is necessary to take the exam in the state you plan on practicing in. Every career path in social work requires a license before practicing, regardless of educational level. So one thing that will be the same in every job in social work is the need for a valid license. You will hear me mention this a lot in this report. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported the average salary earned by child and family social workers as $37,000. Once an individual becomes more experienced, they can expect to earn an average of $44,000. The average CPS worker can expect to earn an average of $50,853. Now, it is important to note that although many of the statistics shown in this report come from averages, earnings vary based on what state you become licensed in and the career path you choose. So moving on, the number of Americans ages 65 and older is projected to nearly double from 52 million to 95 million by 2060. Geriatric social workers are called to serve the growing population of older adults, and they will be the primary advocates on empowering and building the strength of older adults to maximize their self-reliance and quality of life. However, in order to help older adults, social workers have to understand the common issues they face. Many common problems older adults face include primary aging, which is when physiological variables start to decline as an individual ages, and secondary aging, which are factors that can be rushed or slowed down depending on exercise, diet, stress, available resources, and medical treatment. Ageism, discrimination in the workplace, poverty, retirement, healthcare abuse, unfit living conditions, and transitional issues are other common issues many older adults face. Some of the services geriatric social workers provide includes long-term care, which consists of home-based services and community-based services. Geriatric social workers work with older adults and their families in order to tailor plans to fit the client and work to educate future generations for the increasing aging population. Social workers are in charge of developing policies and services to meet future needs of those receiving social welfare. Also, advocating on behalf of older adult clients for essential resources will be necessary. Geriatric social workers can be found in many settings, such as adult daycares, hospice, senior centers, hospitals, assisted living facilities, and nursing homes. In order to become a geriatric social worker, one must receive a BSW, or a bachelor's degree in social work, and this is the minimum educational requirement, and as experience increases, responsibilities will increase as well. The next step will be to gain a master's degree with clinical concentration. So besides the main classes, this will focus on skills social workers need in order to provide services and treatments to individuals and small groups. Students learn about progressive evaluation techniques, diagnosing and treating psychosocial problems, and improving, supporting, and rebuilding mental health and social functioning. Students are also shown how to assess their own preparation and intervention methods. Degrees must be earned at an accredited college, and geriatric social workers are required to take their state licensure exam before practicing. As of 2019, healthcare social workers earn an average of $54,310, whereas geriatric social workers can earn an average salary of $60,000. Again, it is important to note that earnings are influenced by specific employers, your specialty, place of work, and the amount of time worked. A disability social worker helps individuals with physical and mental disabilities manage the challenges that they face in their everyday lives. It is important to note that the problems a client may face is dependent on the sort of impairment and seriousness of disability they have. A portion of the clients a disability social worker serves includes those with developmental disabilities, visual impairments, intellectual disabilities, cerebral palsy, autism spectrum disorder, epilepsy, orthopedic problems, deafness and hardness of hearing, and those who suffer from multiple disabilities. The responsibilities of a social work in this field includes protecting the rights of disabled people throughout society, encouraging policymakers to change laws in order to improve working conditions, and the treatment of disabled individuals. Creating specialized education programs, developing policies in the workplace, and so much more. It is important for disability social workers to prioritize their clients' self-determination and adapt a client-oriented approach. This means that the social worker supports the individual's rights to make their own decisions. Disability social workers must also uphold normalization, which is the belief that every individual, regardless of ability, should have life conditions and behavioral problems as close to the standard in society as possible. Disability social workers are required to follow the American Disabilities Act of 1990, which is intended to deliver millions of Americans who have physical or mental disabilities with access to public resources and equal work opportunities. You can often find disability social workers in nonprofit organizations, community-based residential facilities, private and public organizations that cater to individuals with disabilities, and much more. Disability social workers aim to keep clients in the community before sending them to housing, thus allowing them to make their own decisions more freely and live in the least restrictive environment possible. Deinstitutionalization is a process of moving individuals who are in need of supportive care for physical or mental conditions from institutional settings into the community. In order to become a disability social worker, an individual must have the minimum educational requirement of a Bachelor of Social Work degree. Some entry-level jobs are available, but many students decide to go on and earn a Master of Social Work degree. Although a doctorate of social work degree is not necessary, it must be completed with more than 3,200 clinical hours. And as always, a state licensure exam must be passed in order to practice at any level as a disability social worker. As of May 2017, the average salary for a medical social worker is $56,810. Disability social workers earn an average salary of $58,410 as of May 2017, May 2014, with the top 10% earning more than $80,000 yearly. And now, of course, earnings can be affected by your level of education, your experience, work setting, and employer. So again, this is something to consider. Next, we have school social workers, and school social workers work with various systems alongside students in order to reinforce them and make it easier for students to operate in their surroundings. They aim to enhance the overall functioning of students, teachers, school systems, and communities. Addressing situations and interactions that hinder students' ability to function and succeed in school is also a priority. School social workers take on many responsibilities in their jobs. These roles include counselor, educator, case manager, consultant, facilitator, collaborator, and more. Counseling entails dealing with students who have behavioral problems, family difficulties, or who might have mental health issues. School social workers also impact, introduce, and improve policy, which will affect the societal and emotional development of youth within the community. School social workers are called to respond to all types of special issues and needs the children with whom they work with will need addressed. Sexual orientation is a topic that will need to be addressed, and personal values of the social worker will need to be kept out of the conversation when helping the client. Teen pregnancy is another issue that will need to be addressed, and finding resources for the expecting parents will be necessary. Sponsoring conflict resolution and violence prevention programs is needed. Conducting assessments, analyzing the client's needs, and developing strategies to solve problems are necessary steps in order to ensure that the client is getting proper care. School social workers function in school settings where they can help students, families, and other school staff provide the best education possible for today's youth. School social workers are often found in many school environments ranging from elementary school to college. This can include private institutions and public schools alike. Now, in order to become a school social worker, a minimum of a bachelor's degree of social work is needed. The next step in continuing education is to receive a master's degree. Now, the next step is to find employment at a school and maintain your licensure by submitting renewal applications to the Board of Education in your chosen state of residence. Then you need to take continuing educational courses or submit proof of continued experience in the professional field. And as always, licensure is needed to practice at any level in the social work field. The average salary for a school social worker is around $51,030 as of March 2020. Those who earn within the top 10% of this field earn about $80,290 annually. And your salary can vary on your educational level and experience, your place of work, your employer, and the state you choose to work in. Now, lastly, we have those with mental health issues. And a mental health social worker is someone who not only assesses, treats, or diagnoses mental illnesses, but they can also provide therapy to individuals or groups and help prevent mental, behavioral, and emotional issues. If an individual is considering a career as a mental health social worker, they have to be able to have empathy and give back when necessary to their clients. This is for the benefit of the patient as to ensure their behavior is changing for the better. Mental health social workers deal with clients who have a variety of mental health issues. Clients can suffer from bipolar disorders, depressive disorders, schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders, neurocognitive disorders, and other types of disorders. The services a mental health social worker can provide varies based off of their license. For example, those with a BSW can work with families and empower them to use their strengths to deal with the issues they face. They can also teach parents ways to manage their children's behavior, provide interventions for traumatic situations, and connect people to mental health resources within their community. Those with the BSW are also able to educate other professionals and citizens about mental health issues. However, if an individual decides to continue with schooling and earn their MSW, they will be able to carry out many more services. Those with MSWs are allowed to provide psychotherapy, which is a treatment process where a therapist works with an individual or a group to address mental disorders or help alleviate other problems the client may have involving the world around them. Those with an MSW are also able to earn more for their services. Clinical social workers are able to provide psychotherapy to clients in order to address mental health issues and other problems the client may be suffering from. Mental health social workers can work in a variety of mental health facilities, including inpatient mental and psychiatric hospitals, psychiatric units in general hospitals, residential treatment centers, and community mental health centers. Clinical social workers, for example, can work for different types of mental health agencies or even open up their own practice. In order to have a career as a mental health social worker, you have to at least become a licensed Bachelor of Social Work or have an LBSW. An LBSW is another form of having your bachelor's in social work and becoming licensed in your state. This degree takes about 4 years to complete and can be received at most colleges. If an individual wishes to specialize in this field, they will receive their licensed Master of Social Work degree, which takes about 6 years to complete. If an individual wishes to further specialize in this field, they can become a licensed clinical social worker or an LCSW by completing more than 3,200 clinical hours in addition to receiving their master's degree and obtain a social work licensure in their state. This career choice is extremely popular and will take about 8 years to finish schooling. As of March 2019, the average salary for a mental health social worker is about $49,630. LCSWs are reported to make an average of $49,470, with some states offering as much as $70,000 a year. The employer, specialty, and amount of time worked also affects the amount a social worker will earn in this field, so it is important to keep that in mind when you are looking for a job. So, the best option based on the criteria I have outlined in this report would be the one that the student feels most connected with. Although all social workers perform similar tasks, what separates the different careers are the clients the social worker must help. Each individual client requires different resources, advocacy, and plans. The population a social worker helps can make or break the career. It is important to keep in mind personal interests and what will keep the individual highly motivated as a social worker, because this career can be very tiresome. I personally recommend the division of social work that aims to help people with mental health issues, since this is the one I personally feel most called to. The mental health career path is a great choice for someone who seeks to help clients with various mental disorders. The social worker is able to take on the roles of a counselor, educator, advocate, etc. Also, a licensed clinical social worker would be a fantastic career choice in this field. This is specifically the role I aim to become after college. And although this report was aimed to help social work students figure out their intended future career path, this report can also give an insight into how vast the social work field is as a whole. I hope this report helped you figure out which field you feel called to the most today, and I hope you have a great day. These are the resources that I used, and that is it. Thank you.